The latest State of Play report asks a fundamental question: what is next for the oil and gas industry? We bring together data, industry interview, and strategic insights in a way that is unique to State of Play, to craft 4 strategic approaches for the industry in a response to an evolving technology and environmental landscape. The report looks into some of the really big issues. Is cross-industry collaboration needed for carbon capture to succeed? What's required for hydrogen viability at scale? What enablers are needed for a renewable electrified future? And ultimately, is the best strategy to change nothing at all? We sat down with Thomas Nader, he's the CEO of Buru Energy, to discuss some of what the challenges being faced are by the industry, and in particular ask the key question of what is next.
I'm so pleased to be here, and congratulations on a really interesting piece of publication.
We were chatting just before this about some of the big changes that are coming. I'd really like your view on that. You're a student of the uncertain future, but how are you thinking about that in the oil and gas industry?
Look, the last 12 months has been just crazy, and we keep referring to the previous year as being substantively different, or in some sense a year of change. Last year was no different. Last year obviously was very active because we were coming out of COVID. But to make matters worse, in February, Russia invaded Ukraine. And what that did was, for the first time since I think the late 60s, for the first time, energy has been weaponized. And people are trying to, and my peers are trying to second guess what's next. Then you overlay that with inflation. You overlay that with this sometimes blind faith pressure to decarbonize. You overlay that with a skills shortage, and you overlay that with massive activism. The combination of that means CEOs like myself, we're trying to balance at any given time half a dozen to a dozen factors that we are not in control of.
We talked about, in the report, there was a lot of discussion around the drop-off in exploration, drop-off in investment, and clearly that was going to create some pressures and some shortages. How do you think, given the issues with Ukraine, that strategies will change now, if at all, in terms of investment in development in the oil and gas industry? Do you see a
really good question. There's some fundamentals, I think, that should guide our decisions. Fundamental one is the population on Earth is increasing. It's a fundamental fact. 2, that population needs more energy. Okay. Now, to meet that energy demand from non-fossil fuel sources is just fanciful. We all have aspirations to decarbonize. We all have aspirations to reduce costs and have more efficient ways of generating energy. But I just keep coming back to those fundamentals. Oil and gas has a part to play.
The report discussed different strategies going forward, potentially for oil and gas companies. It's hard for you to speak for other companies, but more broadly as an industry, do you see any trends in gravitation towards any one of those strategies, and how might you like to comment on that?
Yeah, look, I think industry needs to have a bit of courage. Industry needs to make a strategic choice as to the horse it backs. We all report to shareholders, we report to stakeholders, the society, but we have to be very deliberate about the choice we make in meeting that energy demand. I think the larger organizations, you see them having a somewhat scattergun strategy whereby they want it all. For smaller organizations like ourselves, we have to be a bit more deliberate. We have to play to our strengths. Running away from fossil fuels when it is very much part of that energy fuel mix, I think is fraught with danger for companies that have their DNA in exploration and production. We are the industry that is actually going to help with the transition as well. So I think it's important to recognize that investing in our industry, investing in decarbonisation technologies investing in CCS, investing in energy expansion opportunities like hydrogen will be part of that picture. But you have to be conscious about the choices you make. You can't be everything for everyone.